Hey guys, welcome to Better Architects. My name is Tony and my channel is dedicated to helping you become a better architect one video at a time. Well, we are in January. I have good news and bad news. Bad news first. We just passed the new year and it's probably too late for salary raises because you just had them either sometime last year, if not December of last year. Now, the good news is, well, I don't know if it's all that good. Well, the good news is you have a second chance this year so that you can prep for your next salary raise. I don't know about you, but when I first got out of school and landed my first job in a real architecture firm, I was offered $40,000. And I was ecstatic, so I took the offer right away. Now, it's fast forwarding 10 years. Now, using the CPI calculator, that starting salary would be roughly $50,000. I mean, it was $40,000 at the time, and you know what? I didn't care because it was my first job as an adult, right? So you can imagine how that feels. Now, fast forward 10, 11 years, and I am making more than double my starting salary. I should be happy, right? No, but instead, sometimes I feel like I'm underpaid and undervalued for my work. Probably like many of you guys. However, just because I feel like I'm being underpaid and undervalued, does that justify a higher salary? Can I go to my boss and be like, hey boss, can I talk to you about something? Sure, what is it, Tony? For a little while now, I feel like being underpaid and, undervalued. What? I don't know. I just feel like I've been working very hard and, doing a lot of overtime and, I think I deserve more. As much as I would want a raise and a bigger bonus, I would have to say the answer is no, because feelings alone can't really justify a higher salary. There are many reasons as to why I feel like I deserve the raise. For one, I know 100% of all the work that I've done, right? And I've known the 100% of whether or not I put 100% of my effort in there. Now, if I put a lot of effort, I feel like the raise that I want feels justified. And because now is the pandemic time, this is especially true. There are times that I find myself just working all the time. And because I'm at home, I wake up around the same time as before, but because I don't have to get dressed, I don't have to, commute, I can stay at home and start the work early, which I often do. What often sometimes happens is when you're at home and your computer is turned on, and it's very easy when you get a text message on your phone that you can just go to the computer and just take care of the issues. So that happens a lot. Right? And then what tends to happen is a lot of people feel like they work actually more than their typical office hours. And I've confirmed this with many of my colleagues, and some of them do indeed feel like they work a lot harder now because they're working from home with the pandemic. Of course, the trade-off there is flexibility. Now, another reason why you may think you deserve a higher salary is because you have friends from college that you probably still keep in touch with, and oftentimes you would chat on Facebook or hang out, and the issue of salaries do come up. Of course, during happy hour, you guys get to talking and you're drinking and you're having a good time, and then you're talking about, what you're doing for your firm, your boss this, there's time of venting and things like that. And then, of course, you inevitably find out how much your friend's making because they're either talking about it or you're talking about it. But this kind of stuff, it happens, it's natural. And so what tends to happen is people tries to one up each other, like, oh, this is how much I make for the amount of work that I did. Oh, and then another person says, oh, well, I've done this and I do even less work. So there's this kind of one-upsmanship in terms of the amount of money you make versus the amount of time you actually spend working. Whereas more money is better and versus less time spent working is better, right? So this kind of thing can actually be negative to your self-evaluation, and you may not feel too good because we can't help but to naturally compare ourselves to our peers. Another reason is also age. Age can also be a function. Now, whether or not you decided to take a break in architecture or you took your free time to get your architecture degree. Actually, I have a couple of friends that took a little while to get their degrees. So not all of them that started the 5-year program, 6-year program, graduated around the same time. Some of them took some time off for one reason or another and eventually graduated later. I've also seen people that have also changed careers and they went from, let's say, a music major background now into architecture. That certainly happened before as well. And yeah, I mean, those guys that are starting, it's kind of like when you start a new career, you're going to have to start again from somewhere near the bottom, not necessarily at the bottom because of your previous work experience. And you can jump up higher, faster, but still, it doesn't really feel good to be making less than those who are actually younger than you and significantly younger than you. So all the examples I've just given are examples that come from the area of pride. And pride is not really good because it's usually using a comparison method where you compare yourself to another person, and that kind of comparison versus others really tends to keep you down and make you feel not very self-confident and those kind of things. So as a result, the more we focus on this, the more our happiness and contentment erode away because of pride. What can be even worse than this is some people actually like to keep this bottled up. With each passing day, you're going to become less and less content of your company, of the work that you're doing, only because it's just eating you up inside. One way to combat this is to actually know your numbers. Knowing your numbers really is the understanding of supply and demand. So basically what supply and demand is that you have a limited number of companies that are looking to hire people, and you have a limited number of people that are looking to be hired by these set companies. So what tends to happen is that these guys are willing to pay a certain amount, and these guys are only willing to work a certain amount. So what tends to happen is, oh, I'm going to pay you less, I want it more, and then the firms that want to hire for less will have to go up if they want to hire people, because people are not willing to work for less. But they're willing to work higher, so the firms don't want to pay higher. So what they end up doing is meet somewhere in the middle, right? So pretty much supply and demand. Now, supply and demand for architects or basically any job is pretty dependent based on your location, your living situation, and things like that. Your specific situation may not necessarily be the same situation as your peers in your company. So what the AIA has done is they've done the whole survey, and they tend to release this every year, but I think these last couple of years they've released this information now on the internet, where you can find a link down below. And what it will do is, it is a calculator, but it's also a survey of all these various firms and people that are working in the US for the kind of compensation that they're getting. So if you go into the website and then you pick your region, actually I'm going to throw something up here. So all right, so to the left here, you're going to see that you have the various titles, and these titles are not the same as the titles in your company. I mean, it may or may not be the same, but you can kind of get a sense of what these titles are and where you kind of sit there, because there's a little description below right there. And then you have, it's broken down by region, and then you have your medium, you have your 25th percentile, you have your lower 25 percentile, your 50 percentile, and your higher 75 percentile. So you can get a sense of where you kind of stack up. Well, then you have your roughly estimated additional pay, which I would consider a bonus. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, it'll tell you more about your compensation package, which is another 15% on top of that, which includes like dental, 401k, those kind of other things of that nature. Now that you know where you're at, you can go take a look and compare it to what you have. And this is actually the kind of average. Again, it could be a little bit different, because let's say, for example, if you're working in New York City, it's going to be different if you're, let's say, working at Westchester or Long Island as an architect. Now, if there's a big discrepancy, what usually would happen is that you can't really go and ask for, let's say, a $10,000 raise. That's not really going to make sense. What? And if you take that to your principals or whoever's in charge of your salary and you tell them to that, that's not going to fly with them. So at that point, I think it's better to find a different company if you're really not satisfied with the salary. Now that sorry about that. Other good websites to check is kind of like Indeed or salary.com, those kind of things. Although I don't think they're as accurate and don't break it down as thoroughly as at what the AIA has done for you. But also check those, and then also talk to some of your friends about it who you're comfortable with sharing this information. Also know this, that your company they know how much you should be making in a sense, because they also have this report, or at least they should. I'd say most likely they know. I wouldn't say 100% because, you know, some people are busy if you're a smaller company and the principal's got to do everything. So they may not be doing this as much, but I'm pretty sure they know. Now, if you're not making a drastic difference between the actual salary that you should be getting and the actual salary that you are getting, then I would say, you know, it's time to prepare for justifying a raise. Now, the thing is, when you go for a raise, you can't really go in there. And of course, it's obvious that you can't say, oh, I feel like I need a raise, and then you'll get a raise. What you would need to do is you would have to prepare metrics. I think what would be good for you is start a Google Sheets or some sort of document that you can keep track of your own progress. You don't got to do it every day, but I would say put down the wins that you have. For example, there's an important deadline and you met it early. Revit certifications. Every little thing that can show that you are becoming better, you are actually performing better. Those kind of things will be ammunition for you to be able to not really demand the raise, but qualify and give justification for your raise. So right now, I mean, this video is being released in January and it's a little too late for performance reviews because you probably already had them. Salary reviews, performance reviews, you know, same thing, right? End of the year, you should have already had them. If you're not happy, this is usually when a lot of people are going to be prepared to leave. And for those of you who are just not there yet to leave your company and you're looking to give the company one more chance because you just happen to like the people that you're working with, you like the work culture that's at your company, whatever it is that you want to stay, but you want a better raise next time because it is the new year, start making some resolutions about improvements and then recording those improvements. You have to be able to justify your higher salary. So, okay, so this is what happens in my company, right? Everybody's billed at a specific hourly rate. So what happens is when you get a raise, your billability goes higher because the company have to, they're not gonna eat your cost. They're gonna have to be able to bill you out at a higher rate so that they can recoup the money back, you see? So who's then really paying for your salary increase? Well, it comes down to the clients. But however, your raise should actually be justifiable because of the number of years that you've worked already. Well, like, you know, in video games, right? You level up and stuff. So what you want to do is you want to level up your work performance and you don't want to keep staying at level 1, but doing level 1 work for 5 years in a row. What you want to do is you want to level up to level 2 on your second year, or level 3, or level 4, or level 5. And then you're taking the lessons learned from your last project and apply it to the new project so that the new project can be more efficient. So again, the key metrics here is that your performance must be justifiable. If I am the company owner, I will want to pay you the level that you're worth, right? And part of that is also you have to display to me that you are worth that amount. Comment below and let me know how your raises went because I'm curious to see if you got the raise you want last year. So what do you guys think? Let me know if you learned something by hitting the like button down below.